Greetings. It's been a while since I've made one of these video devotionals. I'm here in my backyard in San Antonio, our new home. It's one of my favorite views. I'm sitting by the pool looking out at the view that I have while I swim in the pool. And for those of you who are connected to me more closely, you know that a few weeks ago I woke up with half of my face slack, as if I'd had a stroke. And it turns out I had Bell's palsy. But the worst part of Bell's palsy is you don't know whether or not you've had a stroke or not. And it can last for weeks, even months. In my case, it lasted about a week. I still have a little bit of residual numbness in my face, but all in all, I was on the short end of the recovery cycle. And it's changed, going through that has changed my perspective of a memory verse challenge that I set up when I was planning a current sermon series on the Apostle Paul's letter to the Philippians. And the verse, the chapter is chapter 1, and it's this reading from the Apostle Paul. To live is Christ, to die is gain. Now, in the past, I've always focused on the to die is gain challenge, meaning, in my perspective, I think about it as, well, if I die, leaving a note to my children and my wife saying, don't mourn for me, I'm with Christ. To die is gain as a believer. But I've come to appreciate to live as Christ is in many ways harder, because you realize when your life is not necessarily threatened. I never felt like my life was threatened, but when you're thinking about your health and long-term recovery, you think about death. And you realize you're not in control of it. You can take care of yourself, do what you can, but ultimately you can't control that. But how you live, definitely you control. And I got to tell you, to live is Christ. And I interpret that to mean Paul is saying to live as a captive of Christ's teachings, to know you've been saved by him and to choose to follow him. That's the challenge. How I choose to live as a believer is a series of daily choices, and many times it's a choice to live in a different way the next day. So I've been asking God, what do you want me to learn from this? And the kicker is, after I got over the Bell's palsy, I started having these residual nerve flashes. It feels like ice running through my forearms, and my hands feel like they have Novocaine. I haven't lost any muscle weakness, but now they're trying to diagnose what that is, and you just get frustrated. And I've realized, if you die, again, you're gone. Your family has to deal with you. Your loved ones have to deal with you. But to live, I'm impacting others, and how I live is challenged by this getting sick. I think of the broader message from Paul in his context, thinking about forgiveness and only caring if the message of Christ is preached, no matter the motive, while he's in prison. Instead of bitterness, he's living as a captive of Christ, not the cell that he's in. A challenging thought, and it's definitely a change to the way I emphasize that passage from Paul. To live is Christ, to die is gain. I invite you to read chapter 1 of Philippians and to do a little study with me and to think of what you think of. Let God speak to you. What do you think of when you hear the verse, to live is Christ, to die is gain? Challenging words, depending on your context. Thanks for studying with me. God bless. And if you've got any questions, always know you can send them to me, and I'll do my best to respond. It's an honor to study God's Word with you, and thank you for the prayers for all of you who reached out and sent me cards and notes. It is comforting to know I'm not in this journey alone. I know I've always got God, but I've got an extended family of believers who have been with me from Florida to Texas to California and now Texas again. God bless. To live is Christ, to die is gain.